Some of you guys were asking about the fly that I used on the video for the gar pike. This is it. I'll put it up here so you can see it. It's supposed to look like 3 minnows swimming in a row. The gar pike don't seem to want anything really huge, and I've seen a lot of gar flies that have trebles. I didn't want to go that way. Actually, I'll try the next version. I'll probably only put one barbless hook right at the very end. But at the time I was missing a lot of fish, so I wanted something that would hang up in their teeth. You can see this back end is kind of beat up, but I tied it kind of like the crystal meth fly. So it's got these loops that'll get caught in the teeth, slow the fly down enough to hopefully get a hook into them. But actually on that big gar, you might have seen that the whole thing wrapped around his nose. There wasn't even a hook in him, but it was a heck of a thing to try to get him off. I had to have help with a buddy. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to tie this fly, and hopefully it works for you. Now what you're going to need for this fly is, in this case it's Sanyo standard intruder wire, but you can use tiger wire or leader material, whatever you want. Something kind of thin so that it undulates a little bit in the water. You're going to need some eyes, stick-on eyes. I don't know what size these are, like 32nd or something like that. They're pretty small. And you're going to need angel hair. Doesn't really matter, you can use Flashaboo if you want, but I happen to use, actually when I tied the fly, we missed like 10 fish using gummy minnows, and all I had at the time was a musky fly like this in the trunk, and I actually just cut it apart and lashed one big loop on each of the 3 hooks, and it worked. We got 2 fish each, and me and my friend Poncho, and then I came home and designed this fly because of the issues that we had down there. I'm starting with 3 saltwater hooks. Doesn't matter what size. I mean, the gar pike weren't that big down there, so I just grabbed some little shrimp hooks that I had kicking around. I actually threw them in the trunk because I thought I would use them on one of these tube flies here. So I happen to have a couple. Anyway, let's put it together now. So we're going to start with the hook and the wire. Now I like to use Danville's monofilament. I use this for like saltwater flies and stuff, pike flies. It's really durable, it's easy to work with. So I'm just going to get it going on here. This fly is actually easier to tie in your hand than on the vise, but I wanted to leave it centered for you guys so you can see it. So I'm going to start with the rearmost hook. I'm going to leave a little bit of wire at the end. The reason I leave the wire there is so that I can bring it back on itself in case this thing wants to slide off. So I got it lashed down one level. Bring the wire back. Pinch it. And then come forward again with the mono. So there's no way that's going to come off. This is the part where I say it's easier to tie when it's in your hands and not in the vise, because this wire's all over the place. But we'll live with it. Now I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of crazy glue. Not a lot. Now you can use this stuff here, this zip kicker, to cure it really quick, but it's messy as hell, so I'm just going to let it cure on its own for a couple seconds. Okay, so that's dry now. Oh, I forgot to mention I use Puglisi fibers for the body. Again, you can use just about anything that you want, but I like the Puglisi fibers. I've been using them for years. They're strong. You don't want this stuff to break. And so just take a little bit here. Make it kind of sparse. I mean, you can make this fly as big as whatever the bait is in your area. Doesn't have to be fancy. Make sure this is friggin' dry. Otherwise, you and it are going to be together for longer than what you would like. So I'm just going to loosely wrap it back to the rear. Cut off the excess. I'm just going to tie a little loop. Tie it in here. Now if you've tied crystal meth flies, or you guys in the east there, the sucker spawn, you're used to doing this. You just little loops. And just keep looping it. Move it forward 3 or 4 wraps. Another loop. I just want his teeth to get caught in this thing. Move it forward. Doesn't matter how many loops you do, just keep moving. Okay, I'm at the end of the hook there, so I'm going to stop at 3 or 4, whatever I did there. Let's get this thing out of the way. Little whip finish. Cut it. Cut the excess. Now on the bottom there, that's where I'm going to use the angel hair, or whatever you got. Just something to give it a little bit of flash. Whoops. Guess I better reattach my thread. I guess I could have left it there. It was kind of dumb. Yeah, that would have been a hell of a lot nicer just to not cut it in the first place. Anyway. And again, I'm going to hit the front of that with a little bit of crazy glue. But there's the basic pattern right there. And then I'm going to put some eyes on. So hopefully that's dry. I'm going to put the eyes on now. I like to use the EcoFlex. It's soft. Doesn't get hard too quick, but doesn't take forever either. I'm just going to put a little dab there. I like to put it where the shoulder is. so that there's a little base for this eye to go on. Crazy glue still a little bit wet. There you go. There's one side. So you can, I mean, you can do all three hooks at the same time, or I like to just do one, then the next, and then put the eyes and everything on at the end. But I just wanted to show you how to do one. I'll do the second one, and then we'll just show you the finished thing. So I put the second hook in and moved the monofilament from the front to the back. Now this time you're not going to do a loop. You're just going to... Now on the original one, this hook I put up because I wasn't sure whether the thing would hook up or not. But this one I'm just going to leave all three so they're straight up. I don't think the fish cares if the minnow was upside down or not. But if you're worried about getting a good hook set, flip the other one the other way. But I'm not going to worry about it. I like to make sure that the wire is kind of centered on top so this thing doesn't go sideways on me. I'm going to crazy glue this thing anyway, so I'm not worried about it moving around. Just give that a second to dry. Now rather than cut it like I did the first time, I'm just going to move the thread back to the rear because that's where I'm going to start tying. Save a bit of time here. Again, watch your fingers on this stuff, it ain't quite dry. So there's fly number 2 with his eyes on. Give it a little time to dry. We're going to put fly number 3 on. Now the first hook and the third hook, the middle hook doesn't matter so much. I don't think it's going to move. But the last hook, we put a loop on it so it doesn't pull off. The first one you want to do the same thing because if it's going to fail here or at the back. So again, I'm going to pinch the wire back. I already put the thread on, obviously. Give it a little pinch right here. Start the thread. You get about halfway, cut off what you know you're not going to need. I always use the crotch of the scissors so I don't wreck my scissors because I don't cut anything else way down there. Bring it back to the front, and then I'm going to crazy glue it. Now be careful when you crazy glue this one on the front. You don't want to get any in the eye, and that stuff likes to move around a little bit, that crazy glue. And when I'm done the eyes, I have one on each side there. I like to press them just for a little bit, get them closer together. And there you have it. Nice little gar pike fly. You saw in the gar pike video that nice bass ate that thing too. Anything will eat that, I'm sure. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you catch big fish.